If you have no validation, internal validation for yourself, you're going to just be tossed to and fro. You're going to take things personally a lot of the times. You're going to feel like a lot of things is a personal attack on yourself. And it's going to be difficult, right, for you to maintain healthy boundaries, healthy relationships. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Colleena Carlisle, and today we're going to be talking about the need for constant reassurance. Where does it come from, and what are some ways that you can help a partner who may need constant reassurance in a relationship? Okay. And so what the constant need of reassurance is, it refers to the desire or requirement for ongoing validation, support, affirmation from other people. It's a common human need. However, it's often arising from various underlying issues or factors such as past experiences, insecurities, or emotional vulnerabilities. So constant reassurance can serve as a source of comfort and stability, helping individuals feel secure, valued, and validated in their relationships and in their interactions. And there are several reasons why someone may need constant reassurance. There are several factors that can cause a person to need other people in their life, in their relationships, to constantly provide reassurance for them so that they feel safe, valued, and secure in their relationships. So one of the first ways factors is insecurity. So individuals with deep-rooted insecurities may seek reassurance to elevate the fears of rejection, abandonment, or inadequacy. Okay. And so regular reassurance can help them feel more confident, more accepted and valued in their relationships, because maybe back in their childhood, they experienced a lot of rejection, abandonment, and felt like they were just inadequate or not important. And maybe that was reinforced to them in previous relationships throughout their life. And so now, in order to thrive in relationships, regular reassurance can help them feel more confident and accepted. Okay. Number two is someone who has past trauma and emotional wounds. So these are just people who've experienced traumatic events or emotional wounds, which require ongoing reassurance to rebuild their sense of safety, trust, and self-worth. And receiving this consistent validation and support will help them start to heal and overcome the lingering effects of their past experiences. Number three is anxiety or mental health conditions. So anxiety disorders or other mental health conditions can contribute to a heightened need for reassurance. So reassurance-seeking behaviors may serve as a coping mechanism to manage anxious thoughts or fears. Providing reassurance can kind of help alleviate some of that anxiety that they're experiencing, and also help promote a sense of calmness for them. Number four is going to be communication and relationship dynamics. So some individuals may have a need for constant reassurance due to communication or relationship patterns. So this can occur when there is a lack of clear communication. So frequent misunderstandings, unresolved conflicts within the relationship. Receiving reassurance can help them address some of these issues and improve their overall dynamic. Okay, so it is important to note that while constant reassurance can be beneficial and supportive, it is also it's very essential to establish healthy boundaries and encourage self-validation for yourself, right? So it's not solely the responsibility of you as another person or for other people to provide constant reassurance for you, or you to provide it for them, right? So building self-esteem, self-compassion, and self-confidence can help individuals develop a more balanced and resilient sense of security and validation. Okay. So even though I am giving you breaking down and defining what constant reassurance is, And you're learning kind of what a person who needs constant reassurance, what they need from a relationship. It is in no way anyone's responsibility to have to do so. But it can be beneficial in relationships to show up in a supportive manner or in a beneficial manner to help that person, develop safety, develop comfort, okay, and feel validated in their relationships. Now, on an individual, maybe you're the individual who is constantly needing reassurance in your relationships, right? And this could be because of those several reasons. It could be you have insecurities. It can be from trauma, past experiences. It can be from your anxiety, mental health conditions that you might be battling with, or maybe you've had a series of relationships where there's been a lack of communication and in like unhealthy relationship dynamics that have contributed to you feeling like you're not validated in relationships and you feel like you need that constant reassurance. And I sympathize because I understand what that is like and I understand what that feels like, right? I empathize, not sympathize, with you on that, right? And the reason so is because myself have experienced the need for constant reassurance in relationships based off of past experiences and past relationship dynamics, okay, and the communication that happened within the relationship, okay. And so for me, what was important is establishing my own self confidence, self validation, and finding validation internally versus externally. Okay. And so ways that I did that was one, finding my identity and my purpose in my faith in God, and then also allowing that faith to help me to develop my own internal validation and identity. Okay. And with that, it helped me to start to build my own self-esteem, have a lot more self-compassion for myself, and also to help me build a lot more confidence, okay, in who I was. I like to say that my confidence comes from God. So it's a lot about Godfidence for me, okay. And so having that Godfidence, that confidence, to just be who I am and to accept whatever happens in life, however relationships play out and things like that, like it helps me to stay rooted and stay grounded and validated regardless of what is happening around me, whether relationships are thriving, relationships are not thriving, okay? And so if you as a person is needing constant reassurance, it's going to be important that you work on those things for yourself, that you're going to start to focus on building your own validation, your own internal validation source, because you need to be able to seek validation from you internally and from God instead of the world, right? Because the world is ever changing. People are changing. Sometimes people are waking up and they're angry. Sometimes people are waking up and they just had a bad day or whatever, or they just go through a season in their life where they're not able to show up as their best self, or maybe you just do encounter people who are just nasty and mean. And if you have no validation, internal validation for yourself, you're going to just be tossed to and fro. You're going to take things personally a lot of the times. You're going to feel like a lot of things is a personal attack on yourself. And it's going to be difficult, right, for you to maintain healthy boundaries, healthy relationships, and it's going to impact your self-esteem and your self-worth over time, because everything that happens within relationships, or how people view you, or what people say to you, or if they're not, what they're not saying to you, they're not providing that reassurance and not making you feel validated, it's going to take a toll on you and your self-worth and your self-esteem. Okay. So it's going to be crucial for you as an individual to start to work on that. Now, if you're someone who's in a relationship with someone who is constantly needing reassurance, they're constantly feeling just like they need your support. They need you to communicate that you love them. They need you to communicate that you care and that you're there with them. Now, if you're going to be in a relationship, it's nothing wrong, especially if you love and care for that person, to be a support person in that person's life, right? People need support. So trauma in itself can have a significant impact on a person's sense of safety, their trust, and self-worth. And by providing consistent reassurance, it can help rebuild these aspects within the relationship, right? So here's some ways that you can offer reassurance to a partner who has experienced trauma, right? If you're dating someone, or a friend to someone who has experienced a lot of trauma, and they're constantly asking you like, hey, do you love me? Are you here? And you want them to know like, hey, I am here. And sometimes it can get annoying, right? Because someone constantly needing that reassurance, right? It's like, hey, like, I'm here, like, you should get it, like, I know. And unfortunately, they don't know, right? Because trauma, again, if you have not experienced it, it can take a huge toll on a person's psyche. And it takes a lot of time to kind of reverse the things that have happened or occurred in a person's, psychological health, right? That is causing them to have these, issues, these struggles, right? These challenges, right? Not issues, but challenges that are keeping them from fully flourishing in life and flourishing in relationships. Okay. So the first thing you can do is provide patience and understanding. So being patient with your partner's healing process, and understand that it may take time for them to fully trust and feel secure, right? Show empathy and validate their emotions and experiences without judgment. So next time they come to you and they ask you, maybe instead of getting upset with them or angry or frustrated with the fact that they're needing that, try to validate and show empathy without judgment for them. Okay, right? Because they're probably already beating themselves up like, why am I this way, right? Like, no one walks out of trauma with the issues and the mental health issues and emotional issues that come from it, and are like, I'm so great, and I'm so happy that I have all these problems now. No, they don't like it, right? It really impacts a person's happiness. It impacts how they view themselves, how they view the world, how they view themselves within the world. It takes a huge toll. Okay. And they don't want to be that way. They don't want to feel like they need constant reassurance. They don't want to feel like they're annoying. They don't want to feel like a burden. They don't want to feel those negative things that they're experiencing from the trauma. Right. But they do understand and know that, like, they do need support. And if you're going to be someone in their life, they're going to need you to be that supportive person that is going to show up without judgment, right? And have a lot of empathy, right? And compassion for them as they try to heal, okay? And uproot a lot of these things that they now develop because of the trauma, their past experience, or things that they've been through. Okay. So number 2, communication and active listening. So create a safe place for open communication. Encourage your partner to share, right, their feelings, their fears, their needs, and actively listen without interrupting or minimizing their experiences. Let them know that you are there to support them, right? If they want to talk about something, they want to bring something up, let them talk, right? Especially, and if it's not the appropriate time to talk, find a way to communicate to them, hey, maybe right now is not the best time, but let's talk about it at X, Y, and Z, right? Because I do want to hear this. It is important to me, but right now it's just probably not the right time. But if you can find ways to communicate in a healthy way and just be a great listener and support system for them, it's going to go a huge way, right? It's gonna be amazing for them, okay? Because they're gonna feel like they have that support. They're gonna feel like they're able to kind of work through those emotions, work through those things that are plaguing them and coming up consistently within their minds. So number 3, consistently and being consistent, right? And reliable, right? So be consistent in your words and actions. And this is very crucial, right? Follow through on your commitments, be dependable, and show up for your partner consistently. This helps them rebuild trust and provides reassurance that they can rely on you. Okay. Now, if something comes up and you can't be there, you can't do something, make sure you communicate that to them, right? In an effective and healthy way. Make sure you are communicating those things to them, right? Because things come up, life happens, right? But for a person who is needing constant reassurance, sometimes when you drop the ball, sometimes when you don't keep your word, it can severely impact them to the point that they feel like they're not loved, that you don't care, that you don't value them, that they're not important. And it can really send them down this like negative spiral. Right. And I know from somebody who's probably looking outside in, it's like, well, that's their own issue. That's their own fault. It's a reaction of trauma. Right. And it's not a place that they want to be in. And it's a place that they're working to get out of. Like, they're trying to change it, right? And if you're going to be that support system, it's going to be important that you recognize that and are able to show up in a healthy way and in a supportive way that says, hey, this person is dealing with this. Let me make sure that I'm dependable. Let me make sure that I'm following up with what I say that I'm committing to, right? And have a little bit of compassion, a lot of compassion, if they do take it the wrong way, if you fail or something, you don't show up, right? Again, it's that protective part that comes into play, right? Where they have to feel like they have to protect themselves. Maybe they push away, maybe they get naggy, or maybe they get scared and hurt and emotional, whatever kind of action that happens, or protective part that shows up. It's a response. It's a trauma response. Okay. And again, while you're doing this, be mindful of yourself, right? Making sure you're protecting your own boundaries, making sure you're keeping yourself healthy, because that's crucial. You can't help someone if you can't help yourself, and you have to show up healthy in order to show up for someone else. And if you know you're not in the right place to show up and be someone's support system, be honest with them and tell them like, hey, I'm not the one for this position. I can't do this right now, and it has nothing to do with you. It's just, maybe this is not something that I'm used to doing. This is not something that I can do, right? That honesty goes a long way than the damage that can happen from not being honest, right? Okay. So number 4, also reaffirming safety. So ensure your partner that they are in a safe relationship. Discuss boundaries and consent and respect their boundaries at all times. And try to create an environment where they feel physically and emotionally and spiritually secure, right? They need to feel secure in their surroundings, secure in their relationship. So if you see them looking for security, you see them looking for a reassurance, help provide that for them. Help reinforce that safety that is there. Okay. Discuss boundaries, talk about boundaries. Like, that helps. It helps them learn to set boundaries as well. It helps you guys to have healthy boundaries and maintain healthy boundaries within your relationships as well. Okay. And if you're respecting their boundaries, they're learning to respect yours as well. And it creates an environment where each person feels like they can be safe. Each person can be emotionally secure. Next would be number 5. Number 5 would be validation and affirmation. Okay. So validating your partner's feelings and experiences, letting them know that their emotions and experiences are valid and understandable given their trauma, right? Offer regular words of affirmation, lifting them up, expressing your love, your support, and belief in their strength and their resilience, communicating those things to them, right? Again, it is not solely your responsibility to be your partner's validation and affirmation, right? Now, if you start to realize you're becoming a crutch to your partner, right? Meaning that they're not doing it for themselves, but you're the only one doing it. They're not actively trying to grow, but you're the only one. That can start to formulate codependency. Okay. And we don't want codependency. All right. So you can push them also in directions to do it for themselves, right? Reaffirming that, hey, this is something you have to do. That validation has to come internally. Giving them like little projects like, hey, maybe you should journal, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that, so you can start to build that internal validation that is needed, right? Or praying with them, going to God with them, right? Bibles, readings, and studies, and different things like that you can do to help them build that within themselves. Okay. Now, if it starts to get to a place where it starts to feel like it's codependent, unhealthy, then it's probably time and best to be like, okay, let's have a conversation about this, because I'm actually setting you up more for failure by being this for you instead of allowing you to learn how to do it for yourself. And that maybe this is an area or time that I need to push away or until you're able to work on it yourself, or you can refer them out, right? Therapists, coaches, people that can truly help them start to work on, building that internal validation and affirmation system for themselves. Okay. Number 6, encouraging professional help. And that kind of stems back to what I was just talking about. Trauma can be extremely complex. And so it may be beneficial for your partner or the person you're in a relationship with, whether it's your friend or your romantic relationship. It can be beneficial for your partner to seek professional help, such as therapy or counseling, or coaching. Encourage and support them in seeking the appropriate resources to aid their healing process. Right? We can't be all, do all for everybody. That is not who we're called to be, right? We're called to be supportive. We're called to be our brother's keeper, sister's keeper. We're called to be here, but we cannot be God to people. We cannot be that to other people, right? We have to allow them to also be able to stand on their own 2 feet. And so when you realize there's things that are happening there, but beyond your knowledge, your wisdom, right? It's could be extremely important to kind of push them and encourage them to get help. Okay. Number 7, self-care and self-reflection. Take care of yourself, right? And prioritize your own well-being. I said this before. Recognize that supporting a partner through trauma can be extremely challenging. It's challenging for them trying to get through trauma, but it can also be extremely traumatizing and not traumatizing, but challenging for you as well. Okay. And it's important for you to ensure that you have the necessary support and self-care practices in place to maintain your own mental and emotional well-being. Okay. So remember, each individual's experience and healing process is unique. All right, are unique. So it's essential to communicate openly with your partner and adapt your reassurance strategies to their specific needs. All right, being patient, being understanding, and consistent in your support can go a long, long way. Okay. And so I just encourage you, if you are showing up for somebody, I just give you an applause right now, because that is such a challenging role, but it's such a needed and supportive role that you can go a long way as being support for somebody who's going through it. But again, please mind yourself, maintain your own boundaries, protect your own health at the same time. And if you are the person who is needing constant reassurance, you are the person that has been through the trauma, I encourage you to continue to work on yourself, continue to learn about boundaries, setting boundaries, work on your self-esteem, the validation, internal validation, work on building yourself up and working on those challenges, those psychological, those mental, emotional issues and different things that come up. Work on those things. And if you need help and you can't do it on your own, don't be afraid to reach out to professional support and get the help that is needed. Okay. When it comes to that validation, that internal validation, God can provide it for you. Your identity can come in Him. He made no mistake. And I will always say this because I want everybody to understand this. There is no mistake when God made you. You are here for a reason. Everything that you have been through is going to push you right forward, right? It's going to push you forward in your purpose. I always say this to people, in things that happen in our lives, it happened for you and it did not happen to you. There are some evil things, some traumatic things that happen to us that are just terrible, right? Out of this world, right? And it's a result of the sinful world that we live in. People choose sin, they choose to do wrong things, and they harm other people, right? And it's unfair and it's not right, right? But I promise you that God will not fail you as He tries to push you through it and work you through it. And that just because whatever you went through, that traumatic experience, it does not define who you are. It does not say that this is who you are. It is not your end. You are so valuable. You are so important. You are so loved and so needed in this world. And this world would be crazy, right? To think that there's individuals in here that don't matter. Everybody matters to God, right? He loves us despite our flaws, despite our imperfections. Okay? So keep working on yourself. Keep trusting God. Keep reminding yourself of who He says you are and pushing forward as you embark on this healing journey. And I encourage you, if you're someone supporting them, to keep being that support system and also tap into God for Him to be your energy source as you help and support other people around you. All right, so that's it for this video. I pray that this video was fruitful and provided a lot of great and helpful information to you. If you have not already, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share this video so it can reach more people, okay? I pray that you guys will continue on your healing journey and continue to be supportive to those around you that are needing it, okay? Also, remember the healing retreat, Healing on Purpose Retreat 2024 is coming up. If you want more details about this retreat, please look at the link in the description below. It's going to also be located on my website at rootedunlimited.org/healing on purpose. Okay. Now remember, guys, I love you, but more importantly, God loves you. Take care. Bye.